I love fucking losing. I do, laughy guy. You're part of a generation that was protected from losing. You need to break the fuck out of it. So real quick, I've been thinking a lot about a couple things. And during an interview today, something kind of populated in my mind that really stood out that I want to start with, which is I've come to realize that so much is working for me because on paper, so much did not work for me as a child. When you're born in a different country and you move and you immigrate, there's always going to be struggles within that. And so I was born in the Soviet Union. We came to the US when I was 3, and I lived in a studio apartment with multiple family members. It was not glamorous. I had to learn the language, and at 4 and 5 years old, got picked on quite a bit for not being able to speak English. I was an all-time atrocious student, which meant my teachers and the parents of my best friends basically shit on me and told me I wouldn't be successful. I was not ridiculously physically gifted for athletics, so I wasn't dominating in sports. And so when I think about what makes me happy, forget about financially successful, because to be very frank, something that I've decided I'm gonna spend the next 80 years of my life on is I genuinely think as a society, we have to redefine success and dramatically start downplaying money and start playing up happiness. I appreciate that, and I really mean it, by the way. No question to me, one of the reasons I think I'm a successful entrepreneur is because I love the game, not the trophies that come from winning the game. And I think that a lot of people are chasing money because they want to buy shit to conceal insecurities and unhappiness because we're so worried about judgment from everybody else or to prove to everybody else we're winning, and it's completely fucked and we need to completely transform it. And I'm thinking a lot about that. But on that note, all that losing as a kid made me not fear it. The enormous reason, I'm gonna rant for another 50 seconds and tell you to produce an ungodly amount of content on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, podcast. I will rant and I will push and I will prod and I'll come up with 4 classic analogies and 2 new ones because I love improv, and I'm gonna basically try to will down your fucking throat the thought that you need to put out pictures, video, and written word on the internet, on this device, at scale, because the fact that we get to be humans during this internet era where you get to post shit for free and get free distribution, and yes, eventually the organic reach of the algorithm goes down and everybody fucking cries about it, but let me remind all of you, it's fucking free. I will sit here and pound that message down your throat. I will talk about self-awareness, how you have to be good and figure out what you're good at. Are you comfortable in front of a camera? No, no big deal. Audio clip it. Great, you're not good at that? Right. I don't care how you do it. I definitely don't think you should do it like I do it. I do it my way. But if you are not producing content around your business or whatever you're trying to achieve by being here, you are in a place where you will continue to lose leverage, while the person that does produce content for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, they will continue to gain leverage. It's as simple as that. Everything that has happened in society around the human race over the last forever years has been predicated on communication. Everything that you're talking about in your life, parenting, politics, business, entertainment, is completely predicated on contextual, contemporary communication. And I have really nothing else to say. I can literally fucking leave the stage right now and feel good. I mean that. I couldn't be more passionate around getting everybody to understand that wherever we go with the Q&A right now, it's all gonna lead to one thing, which is, do you understand yourself and what you're trying to achieve? Are you in a place where you've actually started the process of not worrying about what your parents or your friends or your spouse thinks about you? And once you get into that good place, you will not fear to post content on. I do not fear posting content of me taking, a Saturday and garage sailing and buying something for $4 and selling it for $8 and having enormous joy in that, even though hundreds of comments on YouTube are, well, you lost money because of fuel and time. I don't give a fuck, Larry. I do not fear about putting out the content that I will put over the next month about everybody should invest in sports cards because I think I'm right, and I don't care if you think I'm stupid or it's a waste of time. You can only start communicating and getting results for your business when you believe. The amount of people sitting in this room that actually don't believe in the shit they sell is devastating. You're selling it because you want money. You know how many people right now are a cannabis and cryptocurrency expert, and 5 minutes ago they were a social media expert, and a week ago they were a fucking real estate expert? You're fucking chasing. And I don't think that's a good strategy. There is nothing passive about building wealth. There is no fucking system. There's no fucking shortcut. It's a fucking marathon. I fucking worked every day for 15 years before I put out a piece of content in my life. You're not getting there quick. Nobody's fucking inventing Uber in this fucking room. We need to quantify what's happening here. And what's happening here is we are ridiculously lucky to be living right now because our grandparents didn't have the ability to have the internet in their pocket. This computer that I'm holding in my hands is more powerful than the computer that Ronald Reagan had running America in the 80s. That is insanity. We have completely not contextualized the opportunity. The other thing that we have not contextualized is time. If there's been any breakthrough in my mind over the last half decade, it's, oh shit, my ability to contextualize time slightly better than the masses is why I'm so happy. Of course I can be patient when I think 43 is young as fuck. You know how many people are sitting here at 28 fucking nervous as shit thinking they missed their moment? We need to contextualize time. When you start thinking in long terms, how many people under 40 in this room? Raise your hand. When you realize that you're gonna live 2 more full lives, 2 more, what you've just lived up to this moment, that you're gonna do that 2 more full times, all of a sudden, not getting results tomorrow feels a little bit more palpable. We lack patience. We lack patience, which leads to shit behavior because you're looking for a quick score. It's the same old shit. Business is no different than fitness. Business is no different than fitness. You wanna get more fit? Eat healthy and work out. But nobody wants to fucking do it because fucking chocolate and sleeping in is fun. And celery and fucking treadmills suck shit. The reason so many people don't like my content is I've got no fucking quick move for you. I don't have it. I have no interest in selling you anything or giving you some fucking trick or fucking pandering and showing you how good I have it so you want it like me. Here's what I know about entrepreneurship. It's lonely as fuck. This game is lonely. You know what entrepreneurship is? You're on at all times. I've got fucking 5 offices globally, and right now there might be a leak in the Singapore office, and that's my fucking problem, right? It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a long, long, long time. We are now in the era where entrepreneurship is cool. For everybody who is 35 and older, we grew up when it wasn't cool. For everybody who's 25 and younger, people like me seem cool now. We were fucking dorks in the 80s. And you have to understand, that's fine, but what that makes me fearful of is the following. Unless you love your game, somebody else who loves it more is gonna work harder and smarter and beat you. Please understand that self-awareness and patience are the foundation of a happy, successful business, and they are words that are not being talked about at all. You know why so many people here don't have the Instagram following they want or aspire to? It's because every fucking piece of content you put out is selfish, not selfless. You care about how many likes. I'm so fucking pumped that the likes are gone in this country. It's the single best thing. It really is. You're pandering to short-term metrics and putting out shit that you're not even happy about because subconsciously you know it will do better than the shit that you actually want to talk about. We're living in really interesting times, and I come here this evening with one specific agenda, which is, unless you are 100% committed to your audience and playing a ridiculous long game, you are going to become more and more vulnerable every day because people that are gonna put out content. Do you know how many fucking scam artists I fucked up by giving out all my information for free? There is no $8,000 ebook with me. And that is what is going to happen everywhere. Whoever brings the most value is going to win. And unless that's your framework, you will become vulnerable. And I highly recommend you heed this call. I highly recommend it. How many people here have more than 10 employees? Raise your hand. Really interesting subject for me I've been spending a ton of time on. It's amazing to me, for whatever reason, DNA-wise, how I believe that I have 1,000 employees and that means I work for 1,000 people versus they work for me. I'm watching enormous mismanagement at people with employees. How do I motivate my employees to care like me? You don't. You want your employees to care like you? Give them equal equity like you have. You know, I'm watching all these patterns, and it's just really exciting for me to try to get people to understand what's happening and what the opportunity is. And that, my friends, is we are now finally at maturity of the internet. People have it on their phone 24/7. We are at scale. We're in the mix now. This is real life. This is secondary. You don't like it? Sorry. But that is how it's playing out. And unless you are good at this, you become unbelievably vulnerable. So let me sneak in some tactics before I go into Q&A. A couple things that are just important, and I know a lot of people look to me for. I never know what's next. You know, inevitably somebody's gonna ask me, Gary, but what's the next platform? You're always so right. I don't know. I just know what's current. And a lot of times that feels like I'm predicting, but all I'm doing is moving quickly in the reality. Here's what I can tell you is going on in Australia, specifically. If you are not producing an enormous amount of content for LinkedIn, you are missing out on Facebook 2011. Regardless if you're B2B or B2C, whether you sell bikinis direct to consumer or you have a consulting firm, if you are not producing content right now for LinkedIn, you are missing a monster opportunity. The organic reach of just posting on LinkedIn as if it was Facebook 9 years ago is at a level that I haven't seen since Facebook. I couldn't recommend it more for every single person here, regardless of your business. It has gone away from being a recruiting tool to a content microphone. Number 2, influencer marketing. It continues to be one of the most underpriced executions in the world. It's gotten mature. There are absolutely people with huge followings that are now overpriced, but the long tail of influencer marketing is a remarkable arbitrage, and I highly recommend you get more educated on that environment. TikTok. TikTok is fascinating to me because I keep watching people make the same mistakes over and over. Literally the same person that shit on Instagram 7 years ago saying it was for their kids and then tried to catch up 2 years ago is shitting on TikTok right now saying it's their kids. Whether TikTok becomes something as big as Instagram and mainstream for all ages, I'm not sure. But it is at such scale at this point, and enough people over the age of 20 are going on the platform at scale that now for this entire room, if you're a 67-year-old lawyer, I wanna know what the fuck your TikTok strategy is. And so for me, everyone's always looking for, it's amazing. They want the answer, and then when you give it to them, they want to push against it. It's right in your face. I highly recommend you start auditing and spend 5 to 10 hours on TikTok, consume. You'll see plenty of dumb shit, plenty of lipping and dancing and music, but be thoughtful. Search your hashtags and see what's in there. This takes work. I spend all my hours listening. It seems like I'm always talking. It's because I spend every second you don't see me listening. I watch. Those 3 observations are tried and true. I will, as you know, how many people here consume my content? Thank you. I will, like you've seen me do, replay this exact video in 9 years, basically with a headline of, Brizzy, I fucking told you, why didn't you do it? This is what's going to happen. So please heed those 3 opportunities and get educated. Look, why the fuck are you here? Like, if you're here for some reason, which is, I assume, you want something good to happen after you fucking allocated this day. For me, if you've allocated this time, which I'm so humbled by, to listen to this information, I'm desperate to figure out how to get you to do something with the information. To be in a place where you want more for yourself, whatever that may be, happiness, dollars, I don't get to judge, you do you. Please do the 10 hours of work that I just asked you to do to actually read and watch on those 3 executions and do something. My friends, you can't read about push-ups. You have to do them. You can't read or listen to what I'm saying. You have to do it. And that's what got me over the last 3 years into this part of it. I couldn't understand 5 or 6 years ago when I was handing you the keys why you weren't driving that car. And what I ended up realizing was it was all up here. There's a stunning amount of fear in this room about putting out content. How you look, what you're gonna say, what are the comments gonna say? Just a crippling amount of inaction because of the fear of people's opinions that you don't even know. And even worse, opinions of the people you love the most. And so for me, that has become an incredibly important place for me to focus on. So for me, I just have no interest in being half pregnant. I have no interest in being stuck in the middle. There's only 2 things for me. The macro, which is, why are you living your life based on other people's opinions? And then the micro. What are the tactics, the individual executions that actually get you to what you want? The biggest thing that I would love for this room to start doing is to start really thinking about the notion of being great at producing written words, audio, and video per the 10 platforms so that it's contextual to the platform. I just pushed a lot of you to do LinkedIn. Looking at this room, 11 of you will do it. Of those 11, if you're listening right now, remember this. When somebody's on LinkedIn and going through the content, they're in a business mindset. When they're on Instagram, they're in an entertainment mindset. So the way you convey your message is extremely important. The adjectives you use, the analogies you use, the examples you use, it has to base on the psychology. Every one of us is in a different place when we're on different platforms. You have to pander, you have to be contextual to that. So whatever you have to say about what you're doing, make sure you're being empathetic and strategic to how they're thinking when they see it. That is why I do well on each platform. I strategize around the content in reverse engineering, the psychology, in the same way that I'm trying to do that as I'm on this stage right now. What, for an audience that has so much content that they've consumed from me, can I say right now? It's why I took 40 minutes and switched it, because you can hear this shit every fucking day because I'm consistent as fuck. But what I get to do right now is use the Q&A to be contextual as shit. Thank you, Brizzy. I'm ready for questions. What's up, bro?
Yo.
Oh, shit, sorry.
You all right? Is it on? Yeah,
It's
we're
on.
on.
What's
Excellent.
your name?
How you doing, Gary? I'm Brett Campbell, co-founder of Klaxon, or a digital growth agency. I had the opportunity on Tuesday to fly down and hang out with Grant Cardone for a couple of hours and got to interview him. And I asked him this particular question, and believe it or not, probably for the first time, he actually stopped and paused and actually had to think of an answer. And I wanted to ask you the same question. So imagine Mark Zuckerberg slides into your DMs. He says, "Hey Gary, what's up?" You're like, "Fucking hustling." He's like, "Of course you are. I want to ask you, one thing, and he says, Gary, I want you to take over Facebook tomorrow.
Good.
And you can post one post that every single user on Facebook will see for the entire day. What would that post be?
How can I help you?
And why?
Because I want to help. I didn't have to fucking think. I don't have to fucking think, fellas. When your framework is selfless, the answer is easy. When your framework is selfish, it's hard. What up?
Hi, Gary. I'm Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
I'm from Selfie Frames Australia.
It's nice to meet you.
You too. I started the business as a little side hustle, basically to pay debts and tax bills.
Okay.
And I stumbled across you, and you gave me a kick in the ass to realise that it can be something bigger
That's
than
good.
just paying off shit.
Great.
So I've just got this I've moved from just shitty life paying off bills to, holy shit, this could be a big thing.
I like that.
With regard to your posts on social media, how you're saying, don't be selfish about it.
Yes.
I'm selling frames that are customized for parties and stuff.
Okay.
How am I supposed to make that unselfish? Like, how am I supposed to help people? Like, you help people every day with the shit that you do, but
Yes.
I'm selling frames for parties. Like, how do I...
Easy. What's amazing is, think about the answer I just gave. You could just post, hey, I make frames for parties, but if you have any questions about parties in general, and now you may not have the answers, but you just have to start with, what else can I give you within the framework of my ecosystem? The reason I built the biggest wine show on the internet in the mid-2000s was I wasn't trying to sell wine, I was trying to educate people about wine. And if I happened to sell wine, I was thrilled. There's nothing, by the way, back to the last thing, there's nothing wrong with being selfish. I'm selfish, I want to buy the New York Jets. The value, though, is the punchline. When you slow it down and you play over 50 years, when you give more than you take, you end up with a fuckload. And so what you can do is you can start by asking a question. You can literally go back to your seat right now, take the camera on whatever you're posting on and say, hey, I've been telling you about the frames, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys want from me? What else can I be doing for you? What questions do you have for me? And then read those questions, and that will give you the insight to how you bring value. Okay. I didn't know that I needed to talk about parent and kid dynamics. I just read all the DMs from the parents and the kids, and that led me to having an understanding that there was something there to talk about.
Okay.
Got it?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Gary, Ash Kerwin, how do you disagree with the status quo by raising your audience's heart math without seeming like a know-it-all, a heckler, or a troll?
By ending up being right.
Correct. Thank you for everything
You're
you
welcome.
do, mate.
And that's the punchline, right, to that answer. Like, so many of the things I say at first are pushed against, which I respect. When you're innovating, mate, and pushing against the status quo, people are going to disagree with you. That's the nature of it. I don't think that I deserve to be right. I just know that if I am right, over time it builds reputation. I get away with a lot more today than I did 15 years ago because of being historically correct. Hey.
G'day, Gary.
G'day.
My name's Ethan. I'm 19. I'm a uni student at the moment, and I've been following you for years now. I love all the stuff you're doing with your Cloud and Dirt, your Empathy Wine, VaynerMedia, all the stuff. I love how you like diversification really with your portfolio. My question really was, at this point, I know I'm young and patience is key. I've got a lot of different avenues I like that appeal to different morals and things that I value.
Okay.
How do you give that 100% to everything? Or, because like, I feel like I'm giving 20% to 5 different things to add up to 100.
I'd probably, listen, there's a lot of ways to do this, right? So the way I stay focused is by not being focused. That's my DNA. I need a lot of stimuli, and my big game is if I'm throwing 30 balls in the air, if 8 fall, I don't care about your collective judgment that I had 8 things fail. and I still have 22 balls in the air. That's what works for me. I have tons of people I surround myself who are only good at having one ball, and they crush that ball like crazy, and that's amazing too. Yeah. What I would say for you is, you can play both. You can try to go 5 times 20%, see what that does.
Okay.
You may learn during that time that you actually love number 4, and you decide to give that 80% and the others 5.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just thinking at that point, 100, I always got the fear of like, if I go 100%, I'm gonna fuck up, and then you've answered the question before.
You know where it's an issue?
Yeah.
You're thinking.
Yeah, I overthink.
Bro, everybody overthinks. Okay. Everybody's so fucking insecure about losing that they think, which makes them never do, which keeps them away from losing.
True.
Reverse it and don't give a fuck about what people think about your loss, and shit gets real fun. I love fucking losing. I do, laughy guy. You're part of a generation that was protected from losing. You need to break the fuck out of it.
Okay. Thank you, Gary.
You got
Thank
it.
you.
Garyvee.
True. Yo.
My name is Alex.
Alex.
And firstly, I want to thank you because, in my opinion, you're the motherfucking man of the internet in the
Thank you,
21st
brother.
century, bro.
Thank you.
My question to you is, as someone who's Slavic myself, I come from real old school WOG parents, right? In my gut, I know I'm getting everything, but how do I showcase that or keep their fear out of my mind when all they want is the traditional, get married, get a house, get kids, whereas in my mind, I just want to figure it out, and I've happily just quit my 10th job. I'm gonna keep going after it till I figure it out. But man, you know what Slavic parents are like, man. How do you balance both but go after it all at the same time?
By recognizing how sweet it is when you succeed on your own terms, how proud they'll be about you. Right. Too many kids struggle with conflict with parents in the short term without realizing that parents always fall into line after you're successful. And by also having the humility that if you're wrong, to admit that you're wrong 20 years from now and adjust. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
listen, everybody at some level, whether they have good parents or bad parents, want to make their parents proud. It's a fucking inherent thing of coming out of somebody's body, right? It is. When I say don't listen to anybody and go quiet, I mean everybody, especially parents, spouses, siblings, especially. But here's the key. When you just said, Garyvee, I think you're the motherfucking man, where people get caught is they get too high on compliments and too low on insults. Nothing makes me happier than when I read my comments where one post is, Garyvee, you're just hot air, fuck you, right? And the next one's like, Gary, you're fucking Jesus, you walk on water. And I look at those two, and I'm like, this is why I'm gonna win. I can't hear either of them. Where so many of you are fucking up is you hear the cheering, but you're crippled by the booing. You're addicted to the cheering, but you don't want to hear the booing. I respect both equally, which means I can't hear either. Either you're gonna be right, or they're gonna be right. I feel the way you delivered your sentence that you're gonna be right. I think you need to limit how much you listen to them.
Okay. I appreciate you,
got
man.
it.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Hey Gary, how are ya?
You lost your voice?
No.
This is your actual fucking voice?
It is actually,
Fuck.
yeah.
All right.
It is my voice.
I love it. It's fucking rad.
I know. I've been told that many times.
I'm weirdly attracted to you.
I know. That's fucking scary. That's
Go ahead.
Scary. I'm Michael from the sunny coast in Queensland. I've been following you for about 2
This
years.
is not your fucking voice, bro.
It is.
All right.
So, I work in aged care. I work with old people. I do that as a full-time job.
That's the best fucking thing.
I work with 100-year-olds. And I find that very, very and rewarding.
I agree.
And a lot of people hate to talk about death.
Yes.
Like they're fucking shit scared talking about death. So I want to start talking about death and having young people come into my field so I get more young people
I love that.
into my field. So what's the advice you can give me?
Talk
so
about it. That's the advice.
Yep, talk about it. Yeah.
You said you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
My advice is to talk about it.
Okay.
You know, this is what I set my opening chant with, right? Which is, you've been consuming my content?
Yes, I have.
I don't think
Yes,
there's
I have.
any confusion that I think you should be making content. The question is, why haven't you?
I have, yes.
More.
Okay, more. All right, more.
More.
More it is.
You have a podcast? Tell the truth, because I'll fucking check and blow
I do.
you up.
I did a.
You don't have a podcast. Next.
No, I do. I got Twitter.
No, Twitter's not a fucking podcast, bro. The fuck are you talking about?
No, I don't have a podcast. No.
Right. Thank you. You need a podcast. I think I've made myself perfectly clear.
Yeah.
You post 5 times a day on LinkedIn? No.
No, I don't.
Good. I'm going to fucking check, so don't bullshit. We'll blow you up on here. How many times do you tweet a day?
Twice?
Cute. Brother, the answer is content.
Okay.
You're one video away from striking a chord and having 20 million Australians know what you think about death.
Okay.
Give
yeah.
yourself that chance. We need to stop playing in our own heads and we need to start playing in real life. Make content.
Okay, mate.
You got it.
Thanks, Gary.
You got it, brother.
Gary.
Bro.
Dylan.
Dylan.
I'll keep a longer story short in respect of everyone else's time. Been through the ringer, nearly lost my marriage, did lose a business, went back to working for someone, got the craps with that, and have built out a business since then because I found he probably found me, a guy on Facebook who tended to swear and didn't have a lot of patience for people. So one, I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you, and I didn't want to have the regret with death that I didn't do that in person.
Thank you.
You've got no idea, mate. You've completely changed my whole entire fucking life.
Thank you so much.
Crazy.
Thank you.
The question, though, I have, unfortunately, because I went through that not so great period, I had a very young family at the time, and I think that period of time has actually damaged a little bit of the psychology of my eldest son.
Okay.
And he doesn't cope well at all.
With anything?
Change is one of the biggest things he struggles with.
Yeah.
If we say we're going to do something and we change it midway through it, just reels on it.
Understood.
Have you got any advice?
Before you go any further, please don't just jump into the thought that period is what created that. It's super important that you don't overjudge yourself. It may have, but with all due respect, it may have not.
Yeah.
That just might be a DNA trait from your great uncle Gilbert.
I'm told I was a little bit like that myself as well when I was young.
Even better. So before you start this process of beating you the fuck up, one of the biggest things that I'm trying to figure out, and I'm super early, which is why I'm not talking about it, but before we worry about the judgment from the outside, most people are crippled by the judgment of themselves, through themselves, without realizing somebody else put that judgment in them. So before we even allow the framework that your actions did that, I'd like to take a step back, because the second you can take a little of that pressure off, it changes the way that you can maybe deal with it.
Yeah.
You know? Also, how old is he?
12.
I mean, it's early, and all you have to do is love and listen. You can't impose what you want him to be. You need to watch carefully and react to what he actually is. If he doesn't like change, he may not be an entrepreneur, and guess what? That's amazing. I have no interest in my children being entrepreneurs. I have interest in them loving what they do the way I love what I do. And whether that makes $4 a year or not, that's it. And by the way, I'm not gonna give them any of my money either. So if they make $4 a year, they're gonna fucking live on $4 a year. And guess what? There's a lot of fuckers in this room making $40,000 a year that are way happier than the millionaires in this fucking hall.
Thank you, Gary. I love you, man.
I love you back.
Cheers.
Hey, what's going on, Gary?
Life is good, bro. Great shirt.
Thanks, man. Made it myself.
Nice.
Hey, so I own 3 businesses at the current stage. One's a nightclub. One's also a touring company. Nightclub's doing a golden year. Last 3 years have been golden. Line up absolutely out the door, smash packed. The touring's really good. Toured Tiger a few months ago, sold out, was good. I started a side hustle a couple of years ago when I first met you, Gary, and I asked you, and you actually used that piece of content on your Instagram and other social medias. I don't know if I rang a bell to you then, but I basically asked you, I said, my nightclub's called Shades, my touring company is called Shades, everybody's telling me don't call your printing company Shades. You said, fuck them. I did that. It's now called Shades Custom Printing, and things are going good, man. I went from a little pop-up store inside, like a little marketplace sort of thing, to now having a permanent store. All three businesses, man, turn over $4.5 million. I just want to say a massive thank you. And also, can I take a selfie? So every time I go into Shades Custom Printing office, I've got a photo of you and me there, just to say thank you.
Come up. Let me, while he's coming up, let me tell you what I remember about that question. And this, back to trying to make this valuable for everybody. Always pay attention to who's giving you the advice. What I remembered about your question, I remember it, was the people that were telling you to not call it Shades haven't built a business. There's too many people here taking advice from people that have never done it themselves. I always like to take advice from an executor over an educator. You can save it. Yo.
Hey Gary,
How
I'm
are you?
Henry.
How are you, Henry?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Great.
So, you know, I'm one of those talkers that say like, I want to make a business and all that stuff. And I've been doing a little soul searching, and like, you know how every business you want to help people, and I do find like a lot of fulfillment when I like, you know, help people and like go out and do stuff for people. But at the same time, I'm kind of like perplexed right now because I'd much rather spend like an afternoon playing basketball than going to volunteer somewhere. So
that's fine.
I'm just wondering, am I like a hypocrite right now, or yeah, I'm just
no, you just like
confused.
fucking basketball.
So then, in terms of like passion, then like
you should start a basketball business. I'm being serious.
Okay.
Why do you want to have a business?
Well, as a means to an end, basically, but...
You could work somewhere as a means to an end.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing that I'm trying to really have conversations around. This new notion that everybody needs to have a business is laughable. 9 out of 10, you know, small businesses fail. 9 out of 10 people never even try to do a small business. It's hard. It's a talent. Everybody thinks like now, because of the way the internet works and entrepreneurship is cool, that like, I'm gonna have a business. That's like everybody saying, I'm gonna play professional basketball. That's nice. But, you know, my intuition is you don't have to have a business.
Right. But also in terms of like, if you say your passion is helping people, but you'd much rather do something else.
You can't fucking help people 24/7 every day.
Yeah, right.
It's likely that playing basketball helps you help people.
Yeah, true. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Good.
All right, thanks a lot.
Very
Hey Gary.
What's up, bro?
I'm Brian from Brisbane, and dude, I just want to say thank you for just being such an inspiration to my generation and the generation to come. It's
Thank you.
Fucking awesome.
Thank you, bro.
My biggest question right now is the fact that I completely agree with you. Like what you're saying, 100%. Do content and be in for the long term. That's the 80-20 rule. You do the basic clouds and dirt as you talk about. Biggest question is that not necessarily why don't we do it, because there's a massive knowing doing it, especially as we get more information. It's more about how do we get shit done? How can we make the rubber hit the road and also stick to it?
By liking it. Like, if you think it's a chore, you're fucked. You like that one? It's true, though. Like, if you're doing content hardcore because I told you so, but you hate it, you're finished. Which is why I keep talking about self-awareness. This is why I'm so scared that I'm the Pied Piper for making content, because I have a unique personality. I want to remind people that there are plenty of people bigger than me, more successful than me, that are very introverted and just write incredibly well and don't make a single charismatic video in their lives. You have to make content that works for you. Does that make sense? That's why when I created, in that interview with that kid, the document, don't create, it unlocked for so many people because they were crippled by being creative because they're not creative. But documenting was easy. It's why I like podcasts, because you can have a guest on and you just have to ask questions and their content is being made.
So ultimately, you just need to choose the shit sandwich you want to eat consistently.
No, you have to find a sandwich that doesn't taste like shit.
Fair point. Fair point. Thanks, Gary.
Gary, hi, how you going? My name is Burkhan. Firstly, I fucking love you. You're
love
a
you back,
legend.
bro. Thank you.
And secondly, my question relates to TikTok. You kind of spoke about it a little bit towards the end there, but I was already in the line and it was too late to change my mind and not ask the question.
Go ahead.
So here we go. Strategies in terms of TikTok. I am a sales coach currently, and I want to start posting more on TikTok. I do Instagram and Facebook already. What do you recommend? Any selfless?
I would do 10 things the way you exactly do them elsewhere and watch them not work. I would consume a shitload of content on TikTok and see trends, and then I would mimic those trends in your interpretation. For example, one of the trends on TikTok is to actually film another phone of your content on a different platform and talk over it.
Right.
So you could literally take one phone, play your sales video on Facebook, and then record with another phone and talk over and say, hey kids, because you know it's younger, this is what I'm saying on Facebook. The version for you to practice now is this.
Right.
See where I'm going?
Yeah, 100%.
You have to consume. The reason I always do well is I listen for hundreds of hours before I talk. It's not obvious to you because you're only seeing the talking part. You don't see the 14 hours that I put in listening to TikTok content on the flight here, right? It's the same reason I'm gonna crush sports cards. This flight here wasn't TikTok, it was sports cards. You know, eventually everyone's gonna be like, how are you right about soccer and wrestling and basketball cards? It's because I read for 14 hours the sale prices on auctions on those categories, and then read articles, and then went on Twitter and searched what people are talking about. I put in the fucking work. You don't need me to give you the strategy for TikTok. Go live in TikTok for 100 hours and you'll figure it out.
Cool. Thank you.
You got it.
Gary, what's
Yes,
up?
it's good.
My name's Honey.
Honey?
Yes, so I've just signed my first client doing social media marketing only a couple
Congrats.
of weeks ago, and the first thing I did was buy a ticket to come see you.
Okay, thank you.
And I've realized, I actually knew this before I got here, but I'm a very little fish. I don't know shit, and that's actually really exciting because
Agreed.
I actually gave my number to someone who has a global digital marketing agency just an hour ago.
Good for you.
My question I just want advice.
Okay.
I just recently became a single mom.
Okay.
And my son is 3. And
Okay.
on this journey, I guess I'm fucking terrified,
Makes
but I'm
sense.
also very excited.
That's
so
good.
just any piece of advice while I'm...
First of all, everything I hear, it feels really good to me. You know, I think it's natural if you're a single mom with a 3-year-old who's starting a business to both be excited and to be fearful. But let me promise you this, showing your child how to live versus telling them how to live always works out in the end. So any moment that you feel, selfish or guilty that you're putting into the business and not the 3-year-old pays out more dividends than a lot of parents feel at the time. So I would just tell you to not overjudge yourself during this process.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Super true.
Gary, my man, my name's Sanjay. How you doing?
Really well, man.
That's the way, man. Mate, I work 70 to 80-hour weeks like a lot of people in
Yep.
here, but at the end of every day, I'm absolutely exhausted, no energy left. But I noticed there's some entrepreneurs like yourself, you guys seem to generate more energy the more you work and the older you get. How do you do it? How do you get that energy
I
management?
fucking collapse when I walk in. Like when I walk in at 11 or 12 p.m., I'm asleep within 8 seconds.
How are you bringing all that energy all day? Where's it coming from?
I really like what I'm doing. You know how much energy I had in school? Dick. I think the more you like it, and listen, there's also like, you know, that's like me asking you how you have a great head of hair. Like at some level, some people just have DNA. Like I've always had a fuckload of energy. That's just what I was given, right? So I also think for me, specifically, the combination of natural energy that was handed to me with whatever chemical infrastructure I have, plus genuinely liking what I do, that's how.
So you say the passion and the love is where you get the energy from?
Bro, every single person that chases cash over loving the process ends up far less happy than people think. All of them. That's my answer.
I'm on it, man. Thank you.
You got it.
Hi, Gary.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Super duper.
That's good to hear.
Thank you.
My name's Marissa.
Hi, Marissa.
I'm in the IT industry.
Okay.
So my whole family and friends come to me for IT advice.
Right.
And I'm a software tester full-time.
Okay.
And I have my part-time web design business.
Okay.
Just because my family wanted me to make them websites.
Understood.
And I also have a ton of ideas,
Good.
but I don't know if I should do all of them at once or should I just focus on one idea?
What sounds more fun?
All of them?
Do that.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. I really think that a lot of people are like me and want to do all of them. And people that tell you to focus on one are people that are successful at focusing at one. You know, and I'm successful at focusing at a lot. I just think you should see your intuition through, and if you learn that I'm good at it. A lot of people suck at it. The best way to know what to do is to pick one, do it. Obviously, if you pick focusing on one, you'll never know if you're good at focusing on 5. If you pick focusing on 5 and you fuck up, you know to go focus at 1. It's how I think about employees. Hiring is guessing. Firing is knowing. So I spend very little time hiring. The answer is pretty much yes. And that's where I think I flip a lot of things in the way that people do things. That's worked for me, and I see it working for others. Hey.
G'day, Gary. How are you?
Real good, bro.
My name's Liam. It's funny you mentioned education before because my initiative supports young teachers.
Okay, great.
And hopefully making them not like the teachers that you might have had.
I understand.
We're getting to a stage now where we're dealing with bigger, more established organisations.
Okay.
Some are linked to the government.
Makes sense.
When I've been dealing with them, the opinion has been very anti-technology, very anti-social media.
Of course.
When I talked to them, they were, static web pages with no interactivity, no Instagram, no Facebook. But we have to work with them to get bigger.
Okay.
And they're almost seeing my opinions as like a threat or something along those lines.
That's exactly what they think.
What would be your advice to help deal with an industry that's inherently negative about social media promotion?
Not be at the mercy of it like you are now. You've built a model that relies on them, right?
Yeah.
I recommend not to. Otherwise, you have to play by their rules, which means you will get frustrated and quit eventually anyway. So I would reframe the model to have leverage outside of them, not play within them. Now that's a fucking brain twist for you because you're like, fuck, that means I have to start all over. That's what I'm actually telling you to do if you're frustrated by it, or eat the shit sandwich for the rest of your life because you chose to play within their fucking old school bullshit framework.
Well, conversations are kind of just beginning, so I'll go tell them that.
I mean, you know where those conversations are going to end.
Yeah.
What innovation is inherently against education. Education is built on the foundation of memorizing information in a world where information is at your fingertips. That's a problem. We don't give a shit when it fucks up retailers and we have new internet retailers, but we're awfully romantic about education. Education's framework is broke. The internet fucked it. That's not something I or you have anything to do with. But if you choose to play within it, you choose to play within it. It's like kids that always hit me up. They're like, Gary, my parents are forcing me to go to fucking school. Like, I don't fucking want to do this. I want to start a business. I'm like, leave. All these kids talking shit, but they want mommy's money. Don't take mommy's money and fucking start a business. Eat shit for a decade and do your thing. But no, everybody wants both. You're not gonna be able to have both, bro. They're not gonna move. They'll appease you and run you around until you quit. So,
Don't fight them.
What?
Don't fight them.
You can't fight them. They have all the fucking leverage. Yeah. What, are you gonna fight them with that awesome coat you're wearing? You can't fight something that has all the leverage. Yeah. You're asking. Got it?
Yeah.
Whoever asks loses.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, Gary.
What's up?
Hey, my name's Taran. I've been following you pretty much since day one.
Thank you.
A few weeks ago, I had a dream about you. Don't worry, it was PG.
Cool.
And basically,
I was actually hoping it was X.
Oh, that can be arranged.
Go ahead.
And basically, I bumped into you after a talk, and I gave you this really smart marketing idea. It's similar to the 60-Second Club.
Okay.
And then you were like, whoa, that's genius, holy crap. And then you offered me a job, and I was like, oh, holy crap, it's crazy. And then
did we hug?
Took a photo. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
And then I woke up, and I saw an advertisement for this talk in Brisbane. I'm like, either Instagram has access to my thoughts or God is telling me something.
God's also telling you something.
So I had to come here, and I was wondering if I could take a photo with you.
You can.
Okay, awesome. And my question is, and I think it's true for some of the people in this room, is if you have no idea what business to start, like a lot of the resources online are about scaling.
Yes.
But like I've done volunteer work for the past 2 years, psychology, business background, and I don't know what business to start at this point in my life. So how do we go about finding out what we want to do?
You know, my big thing is at this young of an age, I think people should taste shit. I think of starting a business the way I think about finding out what your favorite food is. I think you should just go do things that intuitively feel potentially right. You know, you don't know exactly, but you know there's things you're interested in, and I would lean into those interests.
Okay.
You know, whether that's skateboarding or cooking or like education online or sneaker flip, like you have interests, and leaning into those I think work.
Right, so my interests are basically just I like creative things and helping people.
Good.
So it's very broad.
You're gonna have to go narrow. You're gonna have to go more narrow. Like, you know, those are feelings you have, but you have interest underneath that. You know, painting is creative. Being an entrepreneur and coming up with business ideas is creative. Like, there's a lot of different versions. You're gonna have to go, to your point, lower.
Yeah.
You know, like I also like helping people and being creative, but I manifested that into a wine business, into a client service business, into content. You're gonna have to go lower.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Can I come?
Yeah, come.
Snap. Hey Gary, Michael Lotta.
How are you?
Queensland Runcorn.
How are
Shout
you?
out to my Runcorn people. Anyways,
There's
Gary,
none here? That was devastating.
Sorry, love you, Gary.
Here.
Question. What are your top
listening.
5 tips for students fresh after graduating high school?
Top 5 advice for what, brother?
For graduating high school.
Top 5 tips for graduating high school?
No, sorry, fresh after graduating high school.
Got it. Well, I mean, I think number 1, 2 through 5 has to be self-awareness. So instead of giving you something generic, which is what the mercy is for me when I'm putting out content, let's go different. What are you actually asking me?
Well, not on script, but
Yeah, fuck your script. Like, yeah, there we go. What are you trying to figure out?
What I'm asking is, what self-drive should I have when I'm graduating high school? Where should I do? Where should I go? What if I have no plans for after what I do?
What do you want?
Something out the box.
What the fuck? Like, play with me here. Like, those are you're regurgitating thesis. Like, play with me here a little bit. Like, what do you like?
The bloke from the start, buying and selling on Amazon. I wouldn't mind getting into that.
That's good.
Yep.
Do that.
Okay, sweet.
You know what I mean, though, bro? Like, what I'm outrageously passionate about is you're part of a generation. Like yesterday, some kid in Sydney's like, bro, how do I get out of the rat race? He's 16. I'm like, bro, you're not in the rat race. You know, like something outside of the box, that's theory, right? That's like jargon. Like to me, it's like, go basic. Like if you enjoy, look, you're talking to somebody. This last week I was in Chicago with my son and my best friend and some of the guys on my team, and we were at this baseball card convention. It was the first time I did being a baseball card dealer in 25 years. I went to another dealer and bought a Wayne Gretzky rookie card for $200. I brought it to my table and priced it at $260, and it sold. The high that I got on that $60 flip is 5 trillion times much bigger of a high than the 6 figures I'll make to give this speech over this last hour. They're not even in the same fucking universe. I love that, right? That's what you need to figure out. Like, if you're lucky enough to actually like buying stuff and flipping it on Amazon, that is a business that can get you to millions of dollars because it's so real. Go into that instead of posturing with something outside the box. Go in the fucking box and execute.
Shut up. Gotta get a photo at all, Gary.
Sure.
Hey, Gary.
What's up?
Vish here.
Vish.
Big fan.
Thank you.
Now, this is a silly question. I'm new to this. I'm just
Okay.
getting my head around things.
No
so,
problem.
You know, apologize for the ignorance here.
Don't worry.
But so I've just started getting into content because of you. It's
Okay.
only been the last couple of months. And I'm in the real estate and mortgage broking industry.
Okay.
So we've opened our own company.
I understand.
And the real estate industry and mortgage broking, you know, interest rates and stuff, it's not really that sexy.
No.
Right? So we've tried to make it sexy by combining it with my other passion, which is drinking fine rums.
I'm very excited about what you're saying. I'm being dead serious. People buy homes or give business to people they associate with. I think a lot of you should be talking more about what your favorite footy team is, what kind of beverages you like, what kind of shows you watch on Stan and Netflix. People stay so narrow and professional when all the opportunity is going broader of your actual true self. If you're actually deeply passionate on single barrel and esoteric rums, that is a gateway drug for you to do mortgage and real estate business. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, cool. So that answered my, so we've called our channel Rum and Real Estate.
I fucking love it, bro. You know what's so amazing about this interaction? You're new, but your intuition is so on.
Well, it's from you.
No, it's not from me, it's from you.
Yeah, so no, because I was wondering, because we just don't have enough data to measure whether we're heading in the right direction.
You have no data because you just fucking started.
Exactly. So
fuck data. Why don't you make fucking 2 years worth of content and then think about it?
Perfect.
Here's the good news. If it's wrong, at least you drank a fuckload of good rum.
And Gary, it would be super, I don't want to push my luck here, but if I can take a picture, that'd be amazing.
I'm thrilled to do it.
Thank you.
Hi, Gary.
Hey.
My name's Arj.
Arj.
I own a recruitment agency in Thailand.
Okay.
We've been going for 3 years.
Okay.
I employ 10 people.
Awesome.
It's fucking hard work.
Yes, I've heard.
So my question is simple. You talk a lot about loving the process.
Yes.
How do I stay in love with the process?
Either you adjust what you do day to day or you sell the company.
That's the end goal, to sell it.
That's already the problem.
Why?
Because that's why people don't like their businesses. They build them to flip.
Okay.
I have no interest in ever selling any of my businesses. Now, it doesn't mean I'm right or wrong, it's why you're struggling.
Mm.
You don't love it, you want the money.
Exactly.
Bad.
Yeah. I'm honest about it, it's true.
I know. You could have lied and I still would have known you were lying.
Yeah.
Because of the way you asked the question.
Yeah.
I would argue that you're playing a game of holding your breath. So do what everybody does when they do a business they don't love. Hold your breath as long as you can and then fucking sell it. Or bring in a minority partner who fucking loves it and let them operate and let them earn from 10% to 50% over 3 years, and then have an infrastructure where you're aligned, but then always be prepared for her or him to say fuck you after 6 years, because now they're the only ones doing it and they don't want to give you 50 cents on the dollar anymore. But for you, at least you extracted value over those 6 years and you're happy to sell it back to her or him at the end of that 6 years.